So we are going outside. Is that the right way? This way. Woo! It's windy out here. And also very sunny. Hi guys, my name is Amy Prokopis. I am the author of the young adult novel The Arena, and I have a urban fantasy book also for young adults coming out in the fall called Guardians of the Sixth Gate. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for those of you who subscribe and follow me on all my social media. If you don't, hit subscribe below. I post bookish content at least once a week. I also have a podcast series that's going on this summer called Wednesdays with Writers, where I sit down and I chat with different writers. So fun things going on. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube. I post book updates. I also am very active on my TikTok, so make sure that you follow me there also. That is also in the description. So today's video is something a little bit different. So at least the day that this video is posted is my 28th birthday. So I'm 28 years old, in case you didn't know, and I've definitely learned a lot in my life, writing, just personally. I've been through a lot of journeys, getting to this point in my life, just like even being comfortable talking to people face to face or on video camera like this has been such a huge journey for me. So I thought it would be kind of fun just to share 28 things that I've learned along the way, and things that, like, for me personally, that I've grown, things I've learned out of my growth as a person. I thought it'd be fun to share 28 of those things with you today for the 28th birthday. That is today, June 17th. So that's what we're gonna do today. So I think I might actually move locations. I'm sitting on the ground and it is kind of hot on the concrete. So first things first, let's go ahead and move. So I know I said that we were gonna sit outside because it's kind of nice and pretty out there, but I think it's gonna be too windy, so we're gonna move inside. Okay, so we're back. I really wanted to sit outside. Man, that's okay. So 28 things that I've learned in 28 years. So it's 28 things. So I know that this is kind of a long list. I'm just going to start going through, and hopefully this video will be within 20 minutes because I know I can be long-winded. So first, I've learned your time is valuable. I still am kind of a people pleaser, and I would fill up my time doing a lot of tasks that I was finding out weren't really like forwarding myself at all. They were all things for other people, or things that I was doing to please other people or make people see me in a certain light, things I just didn't really need to do, and I was getting burnt out doing unnecessary things. So your time is valuable. If you don't want to do something, you can say no, and that is perfectly fine. Nobody has a right to get mad at you. So that's thing number one. Number two, the work you put out in the world does not equal your personal value. So just because you're not doing really big things that are like actively changing the world every day or like influencing a ton of people, it does not mean that your value is any less than people that are doing those things. I think that's something a lot of us struggle with. We think that the small things that we can do to help a handful of people isn't as impactful as like going out there and changing the world for hundreds of people. But it doesn't mean that you're worth any less than anyone else. 3, whatever you speak into existence or create, do it from a place of love. So whatever like you tell somebody, if you're giving somebody advice or critiquing somebody, or somebody's mean to you and you're trying to tell them that they're being mean to you, make sure that you're doing it all from a place of love. We want to not, well, I say we. I think it's much better to put positivity out into the world than it is to always speak negativity, because negativity doesn't often bring doesn't forward anything. It doesn't bring about positive impact most of the time. It's negative. It's not helpful. So do the helpful thing and always speak positivity and be kind to people. People are more receptive to even criticism if it's coming from a kind perspective. So there's that. 4, acknowledge the negative, but focus on the positive. That's something that was super hard for me to learn. It's always important to recognize things that are not going right, like things that are bad. I've learned that with like my writing and stuff too. It definitely is more of a business than it is just me writing fun books and sharing story. There's still some business aspects to it too. So, and I have to acknowledge things that don't work. You have to acknowledge it, but you have to focus on the positive things. So like maybe I put out an online social media campaign, something that I did do, and it didn't have the impact that I wanted it to, but I learned how to do it better through the act of doing it at all. I've learned how to do it in a better way. So that's the positive that I got from that. So acknowledge that something didn't work out, but focus on what did or what you've learned from that. 5, don't be afraid to ask for help. That's an important one for everybody. I'm also a little stubborn and I like to figure things out and problem solve. Sometimes figuring out things and problem solving yourself actually ends up, like, your time is valuable, right? Sometimes it ends up taking time that you don't have, or maybe in asking for help, somebody else has a better solution that has done it before. 6, find your tribe. So find your friends, find positive people that help you to forward your dreams, support you in your dreams. Don't focus on the people that aren't doing those things for you. So I think we've all had friendships where like maybe they're one-sided, maybe only one person's benefiting from it, or it's a friendship that you don't really connect all that well, or you don't get along super well anymore, but you feel like you have to be friends because you're friends with the same people, or you're in the same social circle or the same organization. But I'm not saying like don't be friends with people. I'm just saying find the tribe of people that make you feel supported and are helpful in your endeavors. 7, mental health is just as important as physical health. You guys know I'm really loud and proud about my mental health journey and my struggles. During the day, I'm a school counselor. That's my day job right now. And so I have like a big background, not just from my own perspective, but from like my education is in psychology and counseling. So mental health, as I know, and a lot of people know, your mental health can influence your physical health a lot. Like if I am having a super anxious week, I physically hurt, like I carry it in my shoulder. So I start to feel tension in my neck first. That is usually when I go and either talk it out with somebody or I take time off for myself. But your physical health can be influenced a lot. So if I'm having a really rough year, mentally, I also tend to get sick more. So your mental health is just as important as your physical health. You should take care of that. And if you feel like you need to, like, help taking care of that, you should go and get that help from a professional, meaning like a licensed therapist. Not just, some people can benefit just from talking it out with like a friend, but if you're seeking therapy, make sure that it's from a licensed therapist. And 8, take your PTO. This is a little bit of a controversial one, but I think us millennials and Gen Z especially are starting to change the work world a little bit. We're setting boundaries more and being like very firm in that boundary. And that's something that I had a really tough time doing when I first graduated college and went into the work world, finding that boundary. So take your personal time off or your paid time off, because one, it's yours. You are allotted that. It's part of your work duties. It's something that you have a right to. You have a right to take it, and you should take it, because if you don't, where does it go? For a lot of us, it doesn't roll over, or for others, it just ends up sitting there unused, and you're not getting anything out of that time off. And I know a lot of people, especially if you work in education like I do, I work in a profession where if you take time off, it usually means somebody else picks up the slack. We're in a huge teacher shortage nationwide, so when teachers take off, a lot of times it's the teachers that are there in the building giving up their time, giving up their like planning hour in the day to cover for you. But that doesn't mean that you're not entitled to your time off, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't take it, because if you are feeling burnt out, it goes back to like your mental health kind of that aspect. If you're feeling burnt out, or if you're sick, or you're just not feeling really great, you should take the time off so that when you come back, you're in a better place to help others and be more productive. It makes us all more productive at work if we take all that time off. So take your time off. It's yours, and no one else can tell you that you can't have it. That was 8. Oh my gosh. Number 9, don't let fear keep you from living life to the fullest. A lot of you know my anxiety, especially when I was in college, got so bad to a point where I couldn't even drive my own car outside of the city that I lived in. I had such a difficult time. I would have panic attacks. I had a really tough time being a passenger in a car, and I've also found out that I get anxious in planes also. But if I'm not facing that fear, then I would avoid going places, even in town. If the weather was bad, I would not leave my house. So when I was in college during the winter months, so the entirety of like December, January, and February, for me, at least where I lived, I stayed at home and I never went out. And when I did, it was panic attack every single time I did. So I would avoid going out places. I would do things like have food brought to my house. I would do a lot of DoorDash. That way I didn't have to go and feed myself. It was so terrible. So that's a really extreme example, but don't let your fears keep you from living life and getting out there with people that you enjoy or doing things you really want to. Like I get nervous in planes, but I'll still hop on a plane to go and have a new experience in like a different state or even a different country, because that's something I really want to do. So I've learned how to cope with my fears, and I've talked openly about those fears because there are people out there that have given me really great advice because they've been there. So don't be afraid to face fears, and just like with your tribe, find a tribe of people that support you in those fears but don't enable them. That's a really hard thing to do. Make sure that you're finding people that aren't like giving you excuses to continue those behaviors. 10, do what will make you proud of yourself. I think a lot of times people make decisions based on what they think other people will say about them, or they're afraid to do things because they're afraid of what people might say or think about them. The only person that really matters is what you think of yourself. So do the things that make you feel proud. Whatever you want to do, if you feel like you're going to be really happy with your performance at the end of it, then you should totally do it. 11, set small goals that lead to the big ones. I'm also a huge goal setter. That's why I do my monthly Prokopis planner series, because I really, really like setting goals. And I've learned methods that have been successful for me, which is saying something, because I also have ADHD. Setting habits and goals is really hard for us, and sticking to it especially. So the easiest way to approach anything in life is by starting small, because even one small goal accomplished is more than no goal accomplished. So every little thing you do can get you a step closer towards those big goals. So it's much more beneficial to focus on the small goals than it is the big one, because those are a lot of steps there, and that can be really intimidating. So set small goals that lead to the big ones. Number 12, be a good listener and learn how to be better at it. And by be a good listener, I don't mean just like listening to your friends' problems. I mean listening to people, to strangers, people you don't know, people who live wildly different lives than you. Listen to what they have to say, their experiences and their takes on subjects and things in the world, because that's how you're going to, you won't just maybe better educate yourself about those things, but you'll grow to have more empathy for other people and their plights. There's that. And you'll also educate yourself, but you're going to grow you're going to grow stronger in your own belief systems also. And even if that means changing your belief system. So learn to be a good listener and listen with an open mind and heart. 13, when you feel like you're in a rut, do something a little bit out of your comfort zone. So I'm not saying if you're in a depression, go bungee jumping. Please don't do that. That would not be very smart for you. But do things that feel a little bit different for you, because it shakes things up, gives you a new experience, and it's sort of like hitting a reset button. So that's what I do. When I'm feeling a little bit in a rut, I go and visit, what I do is I go out into the world. I go visit a place I haven't been either in a really long time or a place I've never been before, just to see what it's all about. 14, when you feel bad about yourself, go outside. Nature is a huge inspiration for me, especially in my writing. Most of my books, the setting is hugely like an outdoor, natural landscape. I love being outside, especially in like the mountains. I love that. So there's something to be said for mental health and getting outside. A lot of it, some really good advice for people that are feeling a little bit blue is to go on a walk. Exercise is really great for your mental health. So if getting outside is going on a walk, that would be a really good way to incorporate that. So if you're feeling bad, go outside. 15, don't ever apologize to someone for how you feel, but do voice your feelings when you feel that you've been wronged. That one I learned the hard way also. I ended up getting stepped on a lot and was taking on a lot of tasks that weren't mine simply because I would do them. So don't ever apologize for how you feel, even if like your feelings are coming from something that isn't, like, it wasn't intended. Maybe maybe your friend makes you feel really bad when they make comments about, I don't know, about how much they go to the gym or something. It's okay to feel that way. Your feelings are valid no matter what they are, but it's super important to communicate them in a very in like a respectful way and from a place of kindness. Like the earlier thing, whatever you do, make sure it's coming from a place of love. So you don't want people to step all over you, because I'm pretty bad about that too. I'm a people pleaser, so I tend to let people step all over me a lot. 16, no one cares as much about your dreams and ambitions as you do, and that's okay. So I know that my books are going to be more important to me than anybody else I know. I'm going to be the biggest fan of my own work, and that's okay. I should be, because that means I'm putting everything that I have into it. And I know that I've got wonderful friends and family that support me and think that what I'm doing is awesome, that it's so cool that I write books and they buy them, they have me sign them and stuff, but I'm still going to be the person that cares the most about that. And so I need to be okay that not everyone's going to gush about it the way that I do. So that's okay. 17, be authentic. I thought originally I wrote this number 17, this one, as be yourself, but I think be authentic is more encompassing. And the difference, to me anyway, is be entirely yourself, but be entirely be yourself in a very proud way, which goes into some of these next ones. So 17 is be authentic. 18 is never be afraid to share your struggles. That is a part of being authentic. Same thing with number 19. Number 19 is never be afraid to share your mistakes. So in being authentic, be yourself. Like I try to be myself as much as I can online and on social media, especially because there's so much on social media that people leave out. And those things tend to be their struggles and their mistakes. And when you're open and honest about those things, it makes other people that have similar problems feel like they've been seen and heard. And it's a way to grow your own tribe and your following in an authentic way. Those people are going to like you and the things that you're doing and putting online and putting out into the world strictly because you're doing them authentically. You're not doing them because you want the following or because you want to make some statement on some issue. You're doing it because it's just who you are, and people will see that if you are authentic, not afraid to share your struggles, and you are honest when you make a mistake. That's just part of being human, and what people like to see online is that humanness. 20, life is short, eat cake. And I mean that literally and figuratively. So yeah, life is short. You don't know how long you have on this world. Nobody does. And so every day, this sounds so cheesy. Every day is a gift. This sounds extremely cheesy, but make the most of every single day. That doesn't mean that you need to go out and do something big every day. I spent 2 days this week just sitting on the couch binge watching TV because that was my personal vacation. I hadn't had time off like that in a very long time. So I just sat at home and spent time recharging, and I'm so glad that I did that, and that's why I did it, because I felt like I needed to enjoy my time and enjoy my house and being all of us, my family, in one place for a day and watching my son play on the floor all day and doing the mom thing. I needed to enjoy that in my life. And that's what I mean by life is short, eat cake. And enjoy your time, whatever that means at the moment. Life's short. 21, say I love you every day. This is something I've made kind of a routine of. I say I love you to my husband a lot, but I say it every night before we go to bed. We say I love you. We say that back and forth, even if we're just exhausted and not quite coherent. We say it anyway. I say it to my son every day. I talk to my mom every day, and I say that to my mom every day. I try, and that it goes beyond saying I love you every day. It goes to friendships and stuff too. Make people feel like they're valuable, that they're important to you. I mean, friends are important, right? So they should feel like they're important to you. So whenever I see my friends, I make sure to thank them for whatever we're doing at the time, or let them know that oh, I'm rooting for you in that thing you're doing this week. But make people feel valuable every day and loved and cared for. That's super important, because you don't know how they may not feel that from themselves. So, because I definitely haven't always felt that from myself. And I needed some people to love on me a little bit more than I was loving on myself. 22, don't waste your time trying to impress the people who don't support you. So that's a hard one to do when you're young, especially with social media, because we spend so much of our time when we're in our teenage years, and sometimes in early adulthood when you've maybe moved to a new city and are starting a new job. You want to meet new people and you want to make new connections, and sometimes we find ourselves trying to impress people that maybe aren't impressed with us, and that's one of those one-sided friendships. So don't waste your time trying to impress people who don't support you. In my writing side of things, I firmly believe as a reader and a writer that there's a tribe out there for every single book. There's a reader for every story. You just have to find that right tribe and the right people that want to read that story. So I try not to go and chase after people that maybe are not going to enjoy my book, because that doesn't help anybody. It means that I'd get a lot of bad reviews on a book that maybe it's not actually that bad, just wasn't enjoyed by the right people. So find your tribe. Don't waste your time on people that don't particularly care about you. 23, do something small for yourself every day. That can be, for me, usually the small thing is sitting in a corner of the room and scrolling on TikTok for a few minutes quietly to myself. That's something that I do for myself. It doesn't have to be like this time consuming thing. It doesn't even have to be more than a couple of minutes, but do something strictly for the pleasure of doing it for yourself every single day. 24, always ask questions. So this isn't just like a school thing. Like if you don't understand, ask a question. This is the way that you continue to grow and develop as a person and learn new things. Always ask questions. And that even goes to things that you believe yourself. So question your own beliefs, because that's the only way you know if you really believe them or if they're really true. Some things change with time. So something that might be true for yourself or true like factually today may not actually be true and factual in 10 years. So ask yourself questions, ask other people questions from a kind perspective, of course, because it's the best way to learn and grow. And we should always be open to learning new things. So always ask questions. 25, some things are good enough for now. Because I'm a people pleaser, I'm also a bit of a perfectionist. And when I published The Arena, I had a really, really difficult time being satisfied with what I had. And it wasn't until I found myself not enjoying the process anymore, like I was getting really frustrated with things and wondering if I should have done it at all, that I had to stop and tell myself, I don't know everything. I'm never going to know everything, but I will get better and better as I do this. I'm going to become a better writer. I'll get better at the publishing thing. And who knows, even as I get better and better at it, those things will probably change and evolve too. So some things are good enough for now. And we have to be happy with good enough for now. Do your best, and that's good enough for now. 26 is work less. I think most people work too much. I mentioned earlier that millennials and Gen Z have gotten pretty good, I think, compared to maybe previous generations at setting boundaries with work. I firmly believe, and that's difficult now because my writing does feel so personal, but I believe that you should completely separate your work and personal life as much as you can and set boundaries for that. So mine with my day job is, unless it's in like an emergency situation, I do not work past 4:00 because I'm in schools. So my school starts contract at 7:45. For me, I start my day by 7:30 during weekdays, and I'm done at 4 because that's what I've set for myself. So if I get an email at 4:30 or 5:00 when I'm at home in the evening routine, trying to wind down and enjoy my time at home with my husband, my family, writing, whatever, if it's an email that's something I could do tomorrow, I leave it for the morning. If it's an emergency situation, because I am a school counselor and occasionally we get mental health crises, then I'll drop everything to go and help out. But most of the time, anything that happens outside of your contract, your work hours, or whatever boundary you've set can wait for the next day, because that's what's going to make you most efficient at work. It's also going to make you most healthy mentally, which also means physically. And it's the only way you're going to really enjoy life. We should all be, that Working for the Weekend, the song, we should all work for the weekend a little bit more than we do. So 26, 27, celebrate more. I found that I was only celebrating the big holidays that everybody celebrates, like Christmas. I don't even really make a big deal out of birthdays. And I'm trying to change that. So these last things are things I'm still kind of working on. That's why they're up on the list, close to my age. So celebrate more, and that doesn't mean they have to all be like events like a birthday or a holiday. They can be the little things, like when I get to 500 followers on TikTok. Speaking of, make sure you follow me. I'm at 460 right now. But when I get to 500 followers on TikTok, I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to have a giveaway. I'm going to give away some ebooks of the Arena. I'll probably also, like, I don't know, maybe I'll go out and get a coffee for myself. I don't know. But find excuses to celebrate. They don't have to all be great big events. And you don't have to throw a great big party either. You don't have to go crazy, but take a moment and celebrate a victory. So I'm trying to do more of that. And 28. 28 is take more photos of yourself. So up until I really started leaning into YouTube, especially because I put myself in the thumbnails of my YouTube videos. Until I started YouTube, I didn't realize how few pictures I have of myself. I would scroll through and I have so many of my son. I don't have very many of my husband because he's just like me and he doesn't tend to be in pictures. It's not that I don't like being in pictures. I just don't. I'm usually documenting the moment instead of being in the moment. So, not only am I trying to take more photos of myself doing things out and about with people, I'm trying to ask other people to take photos of me also, which sounds like a strange thing to say, but like my husband and I, this will be our 5-year anniversary of our marriage. Speaking of like some big things, and we are kind of not really recreating, but we're going on the same vacation that we went on after we were married. We eloped, so we didn't have like a really like branded or formal honeymoon, but that summer, a couple months after we got married, we called it our honeymoon because it was the first vacation after we were married. We went to Las Vegas and we saw a bunch of shows, had a good time walking around. We didn't do nearly everything that we had planned to there, and so we're going back to Las Vegas this year over the summer to celebrate our 5-year anniversary. Well, I was looking back at our photos from Las Vegas the first time, and I only have 3 of the whole trip. And we didn't just take a Las Vegas trip, we did a road trip. So we drove up to Las Vegas, made a great big loop through Colorado, spent some time in Colorado. So we spent like 2 or 3 weeks on this vacation, and I only had 3 photos at all. And these are also 3 photos of us, but they're the only 3 photos I have at all of the trip. So that was kind of sad, thinking like, oh, I remember going to this fancy restaurant, but I don't know what it looks like, or couldn't have told you much more about it to like memorialize it. So we shouldn't live behind our camera at all times. You know, like I'm sure that everyone has seen videos of concerts on like their Facebook feed or on YouTube, and there's always tons of people with their phones out like this videoing the concert instead of like being in it and enjoying it. And I think you should do both. I think you should have a fine line between both. So my 28, and that's definitely what I'm working on myself, is take more photos of yourself. You'd be surprised how fun it is to look back at photos of yourself from 5 years ago, like my husband and I, to see and remember like things around that time in that photo. So memories. So those are my 28 things. I'm already at 30 minutes, so this video is going to be like 35 minutes long, so sorry about that. So I'm going to leave you with, I guess, my last thing. It's not included in 28 things, but it's something I think we should all always keep in mind and continue working for, and that is never give up on your dreams. So never give up on your dreams. No matter what they are, big or small, never give up on them. Take small steps towards it. And dreams can change. So that's that. Thank you guys for joining me. Make sure to follow me in all of my social media, which is in the description box. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a new episode next week coming out of Wednesdays with Writers. I am so excited for this series. It's been super fun for me, and I've learned a lot sitting down and talking with fellow authors. So make sure that you've been watching that, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!